Shock. Man City win another football match in the Premier League. Yes, people like football. And Man City have beaten West Ham 3-0 comfortably. Let's be honest, comfortably. But it wasn't that way the whole match. But this was a performance of champions. I was struggling actually to what to call this video. I was actually going to call it performance of champions until Haaland scored. And I had to call it Haaland record breaker because he is. Haaland's a record breaker now. The most goals ever in a Premier League season, in his debut season as well. Incredible, man. But really, it's both. Genuinely, I wanted to put both titles. Performance of champions and Haaland the record breaker. Unbelievable. Genuinely unbelievable, man. There's not a bad word to say about City. Like, I was talking about how Arsenal yesterday played really well. Definitely in the pressure game where we hadn't won in 4 matches. Played really good football. Well, Man City just upstaged us today. Didn't even play good football, but still managed to win 3-0 and keep a clean sheet. Tommy, welcome to the chat as always, my friend. The comments are working this time, thankfully. Yes, they had a bit of a malfunction where the comments weren't shown on the screen, but today they are. How did Man City win that 3-0? West Ham did do well in the first half, but Man City wore them down. Haaland, the goal machine. Exactly my point, my friend, man. In that first half, I was sitting there and I was like, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to tweet. I normally like to tweet during the matches on my Twitter account, like what I'm thinking of the game. I'm not tweeting. I'm not talking. I'm not messaging anyone. I'm silent. Whatever happens, happens. But I always just had that funny feeling City were eventually going to score. And West Ham, they stood firm. They stood firm in the first half. They were playing really well. That low block was helping really, really well. But as soon as they got that first goal, it became a real struggle, man. It became a real struggle for West Ham United. Couldn't come out their shell, and it was inevitable. You can't concede any sloppy goals, man. For me, it's criminal they concede from a set piece. For all the good defending West Ham did, and they did, man. I'll praise them to the hill for their defending. I think Obama played brilliantly in that first half, alongside Kerr at the back. Really good as the back five, defending well, weren't giving Man City any space. We're limiting them to as little chances as you can really limit Man City to. But to concede a goal at the start of the second half from a set piece of all things, I mean, a stat flashed up earlier showing that West Ham conceded the least amount of goals from this season from corners and set pieces. And you just see that flow in from Mahrez and Ake scoring. I'm like, oh, man, like, why? Why do your waters have to burst like that? You were defending so well. Like, Man City were struggling. They were getting they were lacking a bit of composure as well. They're getting frustrated because they're wanting to break down West Ham, but defending very resolutely. But when that first goal went in, it became inevitable. Man City really relaxed. It's like the whole stadium relaxed, took a deep sigh of relief. And then from then on, it was just a normal service resumed. And Man City ended up winning the game 3-0. But as you said, Tommy, is it really a 3-0 match? I mean, you look at 3-0 and go, oh, West Ham got pumped. But they didn't really. Like, West Ham were in this game for majority of the football match. But it just goes to show Man City, they are the performance of champions, man. They know how to win these football matches. Like, look at Arsenal yesterday, man. That's my team, Arsenal, right? And we won that game 3-1. And we were brilliant, especially in that first half. Arsenal, absolutely brilliant. Yeah, I still come away with it thinking, why did we concede that sloppy goals? Chelsea have scored 1 goal the whole of April. Yet we concede a sloppy goal to Madueke. Whereas Man City today, not at their best by any stretch of the imagination. Just like against Fulham, I thought they weren't amazing going off playing free-flowing football, but they still find a way to win convincingly and win so comfortably. It's a defense that gets them through these games, man. Man City have conceded 6 goals. I think in like the last 13 matches at the Etihad, 6 goals in 13 matches at the Etihad is unbelievable. That's conceded a goal every other game, man. Every other game. So yeah, I look at Man City and I go, they're champions, man. As an Arsenal fan, I mean, I can keep the hope all I want, but I look at the two teams right now and I look at a team in Man City who look invincible. They look like they show no weakness. They show no vulnerability whatsoever. Then the flip side, I've got Arsenal, who's a bit like, we're good at times, but equally we're vulnerable. We're vulnerable, man. And at this stage of the season, when the run-in comes, you can't look vulnerable. And that's Arsenal, unfortunately. Hi, welcome to the chat as always, Jordan. Luke, appreciate you tuning in. First half was so sloppy from Man City. That game felt like 2-0. Yeah, it didn't feel like a blowout in Man City's perspective. But the first half, you're right. Man City, they were sloppy. And a part of me was thinking, is this the part where I'm talking about where Man City might actually get a bit ahead of themselves? Because I always said, right, we've got to the position now where because Arsenal dropped points to West Ham, by the way, who Man City beat 3-0 today, and Southampton, it's Man City's title to lose. There was 6 games left or 7 games left. They can afford to draw 2 of them and still win the league. So the only way Man City don't win this league for me is if they beat themselves. Meaning, if they just don't perform to their usual ability, if they get complacent. And in the first half, there were signs of that. There were signs of being complacent. Slow passing, no penetrating passes whatsoever. Everything was a bit raggedy. Everything was not really free-flowing that Man City normally like. None of that dynamism that they usually have about them. And I was thinking, you know what? I didn't say anything. I wasn't going to tweet. I wasn't going to talk. But West Ham might have to have something here, especially Antonio. He was bullying Ruben Diaz and Ake at the start of the game. But the more it went on, you can see the pressure was mounting. And once they got that first goal, it was going to be over, man. But look, West Ham, I guess the positive for them is they didn't roll over and die. Their players a little bit on the beach, I feel like. Even today, let's be real about it. They were missing Rice, they were missing Souček, they were missing Zuma. I was sitting there thinking, it's only going to go one way. Like, I was sitting there, like, the only hope I had with West Ham is if they had their key players. And even then, you're expecting Man City to blow this game away. But still, they managed to win this game comfortably. I mean, I guess West Ham, the positives for them is at least they didn't get pumped. It's a good performance. As an Arsenal fan, we move on to Saturday, man. We move on to Saturday. The next reaction, you know it. Leeds United versus Man City, or Man City versus Leeds United at the Etihad. I'm there for you, Big Sam, bro. I'm there for you. The storylines are made. Come on, Big Sam, bro. You got to make sure you do us something, man. You live in the UK. I do indeed, Jordan. I do indeed, London. I expect the same Saturday. Big Sam will make it hard for Man City, but a similar result. Well, yeah, this is the thing, right? It's crazy because at the start of April, Arsenal were favourites to win the Premier League by a mile. Like, I think 70% of Opta stats for Arsenal to win the league. We could get now to the start of May, right? And if Man City beat Leeds and Arsenal lose to Newcastle, which is likely, I'm going to repeat again, if Man City beat Leeds and Arsenal lose to Newcastle, the title is basically officially done. I still think it's over as an Arsenal fan because I look at Man City, and I'm not just looking at the points because the points is one thing. If the points were like this, but I was seeing a Man City team that was struggling, that were grinding out results in a way, that were not playing good football whatsoever, I just think, you know what, we have a chance. But this Man City team are not going to get beat. Like, I will expect them to go the rest of the season not losing a single game. I can't even expect to see them drawing a football match. That's how good they are. Over 90 minutes, it's inevitable. Like, it is literally, just like Thanos said, I'm inevitable. They're inevitable. They're going to win the football match. If they keep attacking, they'll find a way to score. And the thing is, right, Man City don't have a weakness anymore. And that's the most worrying thing for me. Because I always used to say, right, Man City's weakness used to be set pieces. Because they'd have a very technically gifted team, but there wouldn't be enough physicality in that team. So you bully them on set pieces. Now look at that team. And Gary Neville made exactly the same point I made a few weeks ago. He made it today in commentary. You look at that Man City team, right? And then they've got Stones, Ake, Laporte if he's in the team, Diaz, Haaland 6'5". They've got monsters. They've got Rodri in that team. They've got tall units in that football team. So they're not even sloppy from set pieces. Yet they still manage to score from set pieces. So they've turned their one weakness into their strength. And that is the craziest thing for me. So now look at Man City. What is their weakness? Genuinely, what is? Someone let me know in the live chat. If you have a weakness for Man City that you can see, let me know because I can't see it. For Arsenal, I see the weakness. Attack down Zinchenko's side. Make sure you pile pressure on them. Try and bully them from corners. Attack Holding or Kivior if he's on the pitch. That is Arsenal's weakness. Where is Man City's weakness? That's my question. I can't see it. So for that reason, I can't see them lose any matches. Now it can change. Football is football. Anything can happen. We could have an injury to Haaland, injury to Rodri, God forbid. And then suddenly things start to turn around. But the way I see it right now, Man City are going to win this league. The treble is on. It's as close as I can ever see it. I can fathom it happening. I honestly can see them win the Champions League. My prediction is Man City to win the Champions League. Make sure you subscribe because next Tuesday, my Champions League semi-final predictions will officially come out as well. I'm going to do a live stream for those. Make sure you subscribe as well. Tune. I want to hear you lot's predictions as well for the Champions League semi-finals. But yeah, my bet was for Man City to win the Champions League. That was from before the knockouts even started. I also said they're going to win the Premier League now. I think the FA Cup is the one thing that could get them undone because Manchester United is their rival. Manchester United being one of the only teams that have won the treble, they're going to want to stop Man City win the treble, in my opinion. So let's see what happens, man. Let's see what happens. But in terms of the league, I think it's done, Percy. Let me know your lot's thoughts in the live chat. I think Man City are going to win it. You can say, oh, but we expect them to beat West Ham anyway. Yeah, we did. But look, in that first half, West Ham had something, man. Like, it was 0-0 in the first half, yet the game finished 3-0. Like, it finished 3-0. You're sitting there scratching your head going, right, that first half, Man City were looking a bit shaky. And then you got to the second half and it's just a whitewash. Arsenal have to win out. And can you really expect to win out an amazing Newcastle team? Exactly. There we go, Tommy. So by the time I stream on Sunday, 6:30 p.m., the league could be wrapped up, basically. As an Arsenal fan, it really hurts to see it unravel this way. It really does, because I've come out and been one of the people that said we've bottled the league. I've heard all the reports saying that, oh, you have a rival fan saying we have bottled it. Arsenal fans and pundits saying, no, you haven't bottled it. Man City are amazing. I get both sides of view. I always say, look, Man City are the best team in England. They proved it when they played Arsenal. That game against Arsenal could have happened every day of that month. Every day of April, we would have lost 30 games out of 30. Man City are a better team than Arsenal. The only way you can beat Man City is if you play defensive style, aka don't play football against them because they'll out-football you. You got to have a heap of luck and you got to be concentrated the whole time. That is how you beat Man City. And that Arsenal don't have that in their DNA. We don't have that in our DNA, man. So I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, well, we're never going to beat Man City. We're not as good of a team as Man City. But we had the luxury of Man City experimenting for the majority of this season. Man City were on experimental terms for 70% of the season, right? So I was looking, I was thinking, you know what? Like, I've gotten to March and Man City still ain't taking this seriously. But then it all switched when they drew to Nottingham Forest. Because I've watched every Man City game basically this year, since 2023. I've watched every Man City game, every Arsenal game, every Man City game, right? And I still, at that point, I was saying Arsenal can win the league. Not necessarily because we're good, but because our competition, Man City, were not at the levels. Like, I was seeing Rico Lewis play left back. I was seeing Bernardo Silva play left back. I was seeing Cancelo sometimes be in the team. Then he gets shipped out. De Bruyne wasn't finding himself in the football team. I was thinking, look, something's not right at Man City. They're not taking this seriously. Ever since they drew to Nottingham Forest, a switch flipped inside Pep Guardiola, and they've been inevitable since. They've been unbelievable. Unbelievable. Since drawing to Nottingham Forest in the last moments when Chris Wood scored, that team has been untouchable, man. They've just been a locomotive on the tracks going, and no one's going to stop them. Whatever team you put in front of them, the Bayern Munichs, the Arsenals, the Liverpools, whatever, locomotive, straight through it, man. And that is a thing that I worry about as an Arsenal fan, because I'm going to sit here and say we bottled the league. Feel free to disagree in the live chat if you want. But I'm going to sit here and say we bottled the league. Why? Because we dropped points to West Ham and Southampton. When someone asked me before the Liverpool game, if Arsenal don't win the league from this position after beating Leeds, I believe, have we bottled it? And I said, it depends. If Arsenal don't win the league, having drawn at Liverpool and lost to Man City at the Etihad, but winning every other game, but losing the league on goal difference, that's not bottling it. That's holding your hands up and saying, it is what it is. Man City have gone on to win 14 games in a row, or 15 games in a row, whatever, and they've won a league. Fair play. Fair play. But if you don't win the league as an Arsenal because you drop points to West Ham, because you drop points to Southampton, that is bottling it, in my opinion, right? Because now we've got to a point where Man City can afford to slip up and they still won a league. If they win a league, us pushing them right to the wire, and they won it because they go 14 games in a row unbeaten, you hold your hands up and you say, Man City, you deserve the league. You are the best team by a mile, by an absolute mile. But Arsenal, you haven't won a game in 4 games in a row. Chelsea stopped the bleeding. Like, us beating Chelsea put us back in the win column. But before then, we were winless in 4 games. What title-winning team goes winless in 4 games in April? Like, lose 1 and then bounce back, or maximum drop points in 2 games, not 4. You can't not win 1 in 4 matches and expect to win a league. So for me, Man City have won it. The problem as an Arsenal fan is we gave it to them. That's what really hurts me inside. Because this Man City team are capable of going out and getting it. They're capable of stringing 14 games in a row and winning it. But the thing that hurts me the most is they could afford to draw this game. They'd still be favourites to win the league. You know what I mean? Like, we've handed the league to them on a play. But it's one of those things. A credit to Man City, they're an unbelievable side. I do expect them to win the Champions League. And of course, will be reviewing every single Arsenal game, every single Man City game, every single Champions League game on this channel. So Man City fans, Arsenal fans, fans of any other football club, make sure you subscribe to my notifications. You don't want to miss my streams. Those people that are active around here will know, always streaming, man. Top 4 is done. Don't worry. Yeah, Arsenal have got Champions League football, but I'm not happy with that, because I made this analogy the other day, right? I'm going to make it again because new people in the chat. If at the start of the year, you got predicted a B for maths, right? A B. But throughout the whole year, you be getting A star in every single exam paper, every single mock test, every single mini assessment, you get an A star. Then when you sit your A levels or sit your GCSEs at the end of the year and you open up and you get a B, would you be happy or sad? Some people say, oh, happy because I got predicted a B at the start of the year. I was be like, hang on a minute, I don't got predicted a B, but this whole year I've been averaging an A star. How can I then get a B and be happy? That's Arsenal this game, right? It's like a boxer that's won every single round but got knocked out in the 12th round. It doesn't matter if you get knocked out in the 12th round. You get what I mean? And that's what hurts for Arsenal, because it's become a bit of our DNA to be bottling it. And I'm saying this as an Arsenal fan, so you can sit and say, oh, you can't say that, you can't say that. I'm an Arsenal fan saying this. Last year, top 4, when we lost to Tottenham and we lost to Newcastle, and we threw away top 4. And again this season as well, drop points to West Ham and Southampton. So it's a bit in Arsenal's DNA to bottle it. But I'm just annoyed that we didn't push City like we could have. Like, Liverpool pushed City, man. Like, I would never sit here and say Liverpool bottled the Premier League. Never. Because they pushed that City team to the very extent. Like, they gave Pep Guardiola grey hairs fighting for that title every season. 99 points and missing out on the title. Like, 98 points and missing out on the title because City got 99. Like, that's the extent. We didn't do that. We didn't do that. Like, City were experimenting for the majority of the season, yet they're still going to win this league comfortably at this rate. And that really pains me. But it's one of those things. Liverpool won again 1-0. I saw Salah penalty as well. Brilliant for him to get on the score sheet. Liverpool mounting a fight for top 4. Will it be enough? Who knows, man? Who knows? That Liverpool pen was a gift. I wasn't watching the game, so I'm not sure, but I did know it finished 1-0. Fulham, I didn't really have a chance. What's your prediction? Tottenham versus Crystal Palace. Oh, I think Palace will get something from that game. I'm expecting a 2-2 draw. 2-2 draw between Tottenham and Palace. Tottenham a bit shaky under Ryan Mason. They start slow. Palace, I think you can get something. You definitely can. Man United, I appreciate joining the stream as always, Mohammed. Man United must win tomorrow against, you mean Brighton? Yeah. Man United must win tomorrow against Brighton. Yes, you have to. But look, you've got a bit of a leeway. Now, Liverpool have hit form. It might be a little too late. Who knows? But Liverpool have hit form. So if you're Manchester United, if you're Newcastle, You can't sit there and go top four's wrapped up. I do believe top four's wrapped up because I think Liverpool have given themselves too much of a margin. Sorry, giving themselves too much of a gap to catch up to Manchester United and Newcastle. You can't take any game for granted. That'll be a really interesting game tomorrow between Brighton and Manchester United. I'm sure it'll be a brilliant, brilliant football match. Salah's good at penalty kicks again. Yeah, about time, man. About time. After missing against Bournemouth and Arsenal, he's back scoring penalties again. Man United need to keep fighting top four till the end of the season. Exactly. I agree, Mohammed. Manchester City are their only weakness. They turn it up, they win it all. Exactly, Tommy. Exactly the point I made, man. Nail on the head. I made that point at the start of the stream. As an Arsenal fan, the only way I can see Man City not winning this league is if they beat themselves. If, like, what happened in the first half today, where they get a little bit complacent, the passes aren't fluid, the football isn't dynamic, that's the only way I can see Man City not win this title because they show no other weakness. You can't go through them. You can't go out wide. You can't beat them from set pieces anymore because their units have got in the box. Man City can only beat themselves. So I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, look, the tough games for Man City, they got Everton away. I think that'll be a tough game. No matter how bad Everton are, no one wants to go to Goodison Park. Trust me when I say that, especially wedged in between the Real Madrid games, which I will be covering on this channel. Every single game I'll cover on this channel. Don't worry. Man City, both legs against Real Madrid on this channel straight after. Everton game on this channel straight after. You know it as always. Make sure you subscribe to turn on bell notifications so you don't miss it. That will be a tough game. They've got to go Brighton away. But by then, Brighton might not be fighting for anything. They've got to go Brentford on the last day. But then again, Brentford won't be fighting for anything. So I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, it's a slim hope. A very, very slim hope. But it's one of those things. It's one of those things, man. If it happens, it happens. For me, Arsenal just got to keep getting our results. It's one of those things. But if we do lose the title by 3 points, and those 3 points are because we dropped points to West Ham and Southampton, I will not be able to sleep well at night. I'll be having nightmares sleeping at night. But it's one of those things. Big Sam is going to cause trouble for Man City IMO. I hope so. I bloody hope so, man. I will be here. I'll be locked in. Saturday, 3 p.m. I am tuning in for a big Sam Allardyce masterclass. Samuel Allardyce, bro. Your press conference today, you talked about how you're one of the greatest managers, how you know more about football than Pep Guardiola, Arteta, Jurgen Klopp, etc. Prove it, my friend. Prove it. You've done wonders. I remember the season in 2015 where you kept Sunderland afloat when I thought they were dead and buried. Prove it, bro. Leeds are in a crisis right now. You get anything at Man City, even a draw, and I will praise you, bro. I will praise you. I'll be here. 5 p.m. the stream starts. Man City versus Leeds. Even if Man City wins 6-0, I'll be here. Don't worry. Don't worry about that one bit, man. Brighton and Manchester United, I predict a draw tomorrow. I think Brighton will win. I think Brighton will win at home against Man United. They're a better team as well. And also, Brighton need to get revenge after the FA Cup because they were the better team on that day, but United beat them on penalties. So I think Brighton will bounce back. De Zerbi's a good manager. He's a top manager. But yeah, who knows, man? Never count out Manchester United. Never count them out. But in big games away from home, Manchester United have struggled. Let's not forget that. Let's not forget that one bit. Against Newcastle, they struggled big time, man. Big time. Against Man City, of course, we know they struggled. Sevilla away was a massive game for them in the Europa League. They struggled. Covered all those games in this channel, man. Struggled for them, man. Big Sam will, but Man City will find a way. And that's the problem for me, man, because even at 70 minutes, if it's still 0-0, I'm still confident Man City will find a way to win that football match. And that's what pains me. That's what pains me. Like, at no point in this match, even when it was 0-0, even when West Ham were defending well, I never thought, oh, you know what, they're going to get a point here. I was just like waiting for it. I was just waiting for Man City to get the goal, and it eventually came. Haaland is a robot. Yeah, let's talk about Haaland, man. Like, this whole stream has been 80 minutes. I haven't talked about Haaland. The title of this stream is Haaland Record Breaker. I didn't know what to call it. I was going to either call it Haaland Record Breaker or Man City title, basically type performance of champions. But I called it Haaland Record Breaker because he is scored the most goals in a Premier League season. And that is beating records on 42 Premier League game seasons. 42 game seasons. So absolutely crazy by Haaland, man. Unbelievable. He's just so good. Genuinely, he's so good. And the biggest compliment I could give him is he makes it look so easy. He makes it genuinely look so easy. Like, I watched the brother play football and the goals he scores, I'm sitting there thinking, why are not more goal scorers scoring 35, 40 goals a season? Like, it looks easy. It looks like I could score it because everything's so effortless with him. I always say the best strikers in the world, yeah, effortless. One of my favorite ever strikers was Luis Suarez, right, at Liverpool. I love that guy to bits, man. Unbelievable striker. And he made everything look effortless. Like, he's stroking to the back of the net easy. Haaland today, that dink over Fabianski, so effortless, man. Like, I'm watching it in real time. And this is the scariest thing, by the way, because it's a carbon copy to the goal scored against West Ham at the very start of the season when I got exactly the same thought. Gave me deja vu. I see Haaland run, right? And I see the run happen. The West Ham players see the run happen. Everyone in the stadium can see Haaland making that run. And everyone in the stadium knows the pass is going to be made. Yet you can't stop it. Imagine. You can see it happening, but you cannot stop it. That is the scariest thing for me. And that's Haaland in a nutshell. You see it, you can't stop it. So I'm looking, I'm thinking, how do you stop it? Teams will adapt, inevitably. Teams always do. But for now, it's just a robot, man. An absolute robot. City of Ruthless. Appreciate you joining the stream as always, Trugan. I hope you're doing well, my friend. They are ruthless, man. And look, this is the thing. Arsenal yesterday had a brilliant performance. I think our performance yesterday was better than Man City's performance today. Yet we still conceded and were sloppy. Man City don't concede goals, man. So that's why I look at it. They don't have a weakness. Like Arsenal at home, we always find a way to concede a goal. Like Chelsea have not scored in God knows how long, man. They got their goal of the month in April was a deflected goal against Brighton. Like these brothers do not score, yet we still managed to concede a goal against them. It's crazy, man. City, they don't have that weakness. They don't concede at home. They're ruthless. Genuinely, that is the perfect word to describe them. Ruthless. Ruthless and inevitable. Those are the two words that I'd associate with Man City. People saying Haaland is a cheat code. He is, man. But teams adapt. Teams adapt. You'll find a way to stop Haaland. You will. The thing that's strange about Haaland is he hasn't got injured this season. Make no mistake about it. I don't wish injury on any player, but I remember at Dortmund, he always used to get that little injury that would keep him out for like a few months. See, he has not got injured once. I know he missed a Liverpool game, but even that was like a minor injury. What is it with these City players? They rarely get injured. Like even Ake got injured after Saliba with a hamstring injury, which is meant to keep you out for a month at least, and he came back in 3 weeks. Saliba was out. It was meant to be a knock that was going to bring him back for the Leeds game. And he's been out for 2 months. I don't get it. I genuinely don't get it. Only team will stop them is Real Madrid. I cannot wait. On this channel, both legs. Man City, Real Madrid first on Tuesday the 9th of May. Exams will be done that day as well. So I will have no issues, no excuses whatsoever. Stream. And then next week as well, the reverse leg. I'll be covering both on this channel. Make no mistake about it one bit. My Champions League predictions as well will be live streamed Tuesday during the day, just before the game kicks off as well. So make sure you stay tuned for that. I want to hear all your lot's predictions regarding the Champions League as well. My prediction, I'm going to give a spoiler alert. My prediction is I believe Man City will win the Champions League. I made this prediction before the knockout round even started. I just think Haaland's that X factor. But who knows, man? If there's going to be a team, you're right. It's Real Madrid. It's the experience and the aura and the confidence of Real Madrid versus the best team in the world, in my opinion, right now in Manchester City. What a grudge match. Let's see what happens. We 100% bottled the league. Yeah, exactly. And Arsenal fans, let me know. Man City fans, let me know. Fan of any football club, did Arsenal bottle the Premier League? I agree. I think we did. Why? Because we dropped points to West Ham and Southampton. Losing to Man City is not bottling the league for me because Man City are a better team than us. I can accept that. I'll hold my hands up. Better coach, better team. But dropping points to West Ham and Southampton for me is bottling the league. That's my opinion on it. I think Arsenal bottled it. Best ever start in English top flight history. Exactly. There we go, man. And this is the thing, right? Because I think every Arsenal fan, every football fan in world football can agree. If Arsenal played that game against Southampton and West Ham in October or November, we win those games comfortably. Now, I know we drew away to Southampton, but that was a away game. It's one of those things, man. It happens. At home against Southampton, bottom of the table. If that game's played in November, if that game's played in October, September, August, Arsenal win that game 3-4-1. Like, it would be comfortable. But because the pressure's on us, because it's a run-in, because Sky Sports put the graphic up saying race for the title, Arsenal versus Man City, it gets to our heads a little bit and we lose composure. And another thing is, right, going into both games against Man City, Arsenal had bad run of form. Going into both games against Man City, we were winless for at least 2 matches. What does that tell me? As soon as the Man City fixture was round the corner, Arsenal lost their heads. We lost all composure and we started thinking about the Man City game rather than doing what every football team does, which is one foot in front of the other and going just one game at a time. But we didn't. We lost composure. When we had to play Man City in February, the build-up was happening. Suddenly we dropped points to Everton. Suddenly we dropped points to Brentford. Then we go to play Man City and we've dropped 2 in a bounce. But now we need to find a way to recover against Man City. It's very hard to do that. Then again, Man City away. We dropped points to Liverpool. Fair enough. It's Anfield. It's one of those games. I didn't bash the team for that. But then we drop points to West Ham and Southampton. Suddenly we go into that Man City again, winless in 3. Going to make it winless in 4. So both times went into the Man City game with poor confidence. And that really hurts me as an Arsenal fan. That we didn't go in there with our best team, which is one of those things. I'm not one to complain about not having the best team. Man City today didn't have Ederson, didn't have De Bruyne, didn't have, what's the other Donny's name? Can't remember. They basically didn't have a lot of their key players. Gundogan as well, that's the one I'm missing. They were missing 3 of their best players. Yet they still came out and they won this game convincingly towards the end. So you look and you can say squad depth this, squad depth that, but the players, you got a squad for a reason, man. Look, it's one of those things. It's one of those things. Man City, the better team, and they deserve the Premier League. They deserve the Premier League. The form they've hit since March, it's been unbelievable. It's a combination of Arsenal bottling it and Man City being ruthless towards the end of the season. It's one of those things. If Arsenal played someone else, not sure you'd have won. Let's be real. Chelsea are absolutely woeful. Indeed, I agree. And I said it. I said Chelsea is probably the easiest game you're going to get in the Premier League because they are crap. They are absolutely crap. And they're not fighting for anything. Their players are on the beach right now. So I agree with you, man. And we still look vulnerable. We still look vulnerable when we conceded to 3-1. Yeah, Real Madrid is the only team that will cause City trouble. Well, let's see, man. The one thing about Real Madrid, right, it's the only team in this league, yeah, where they could be 2-0 down. I don't count them out. Like, even at Anfield, they were 2-0 down after 10 minutes, yet they still found a way back into the game. My opinion on it is, right, and I'll cover it more when I do the Champions League predictions, of course, but My opinion on this is, right, for Man City to win this, they need to blow Real Madrid out the water, because if it's a tight game, Real Madrid I'll give the benefit of the doubt to, because Real Madrid know how to maneuver in tight conditions when the game's on the line, when it's one goal between them. I mean, we saw them last year, right? They were down by 2 goals, yet Rodrigo stepped up in the clutch and managed to get 2 goals to take the game to extra time. And we of course know Benzema from there got the penalty, and it was what she wrote towards the end of the game, and Real Madrid progressed to win the Champions League. But Man City will learn from that, because it will sting, and it will sting a lot. B, I think Man City are a better team now. They are. And they've got that X factor in Haaland. Last year, Man City didn't have that X factor. It was a team. It was like the Avengers are called Man City. Everyone was firing, but they weren't. When the team isn't all that, they need that one player to step up and be counted. Sometimes when the football ain't flowing, you just need to make that killer pass to Haaland. And that's what they do this season. Like, their goals, they become a counter-attacking team just as much as a possession-style team with Haaland inside. And that's the scariest thing for the rest of the league. And I'm thinking, against Real Madrid, they can do that, man. They can do that. Real Madrid themselves have not got great form right now. So let's see. I can't wait for it. In a one-off game, United can beat City. And my prediction is Manchester United will win the FA Cup. I think they will, because, look, Manchester United got history. Manchester United got tradition. They know when they're playing for Man City in the FA Cup, they're fighting not only to win the FA Cup themselves, they're fighting to stop Man City win the treble, which is Manchester United's record. They're famous for it in 99. If their neighbours go ahead and do it, hang on a minute. They've just won the Champions League for the first time in their history. They've won the treble, which we've been bragging about for the last 20 years or so. We got to stop them. So my money is on United to beat City in a one-off game. Who knows, man? It's at Wembley. United fans will be up for it, man. Who knows? Oh, by the way, today, I don't want to bash the Man City fans, but I am going to right now, because the Etihad was empty. Not empty today, but there was missing seats, bro. Your team's about to win the title and you've got missing seats. That is a spoiled fan base. And I'm not one to get on fans, but I know for the Emirates, there's not a missing seat there. There's not, because Arsenal have been fighting for the title. The chants are there, the atmosphere's there, the Ashburton Army's there, man. Everyone's in the stadium. I watched Man City against West Ham today, and there was missing seats, man. I'm sitting there thinking, like, this fan base is spoiled. Genuinely, they're spoiled. Like, they might win the 3rd Premier League in a row, and they're thinking, it is what it is, man. I don't need to go to this game. Imagine if it was Arsenal in this position. Imagine Manchester United win this position. Teams that not won the Premier League in 10 plus years. They would be crying to get to the stadium. You saw Arsenal versus Wolves seats were reselling for about 27 grand. People want to be at the game to watch Arsenal win the Premier League potentially. Obviously, it hasn't worked out like that, but it's one of those things. I've got my seat for Arsenal against Wolves. Like, for Man City, I don't feel the same way. I feel like their fans are a little bit more dissociated from the club. They're more focused on the Champions League themselves, which it's one of those things, man. But I'm thinking it's a bit sad to see empty seats in that Man City crowd, because they're 5 games away from winning the Premier League again for the 3rd time in a row, which only Manchester United have really done. So it's sad, though. But it's one of those things. 1-1 draw tomorrow for Brighton United. Yeah, I can see that. I think it's going to be a draw, Manchester United win. I meant top 4 for everyone. Oh, okay, yeah, I got you. Anthony scores in the 80th minute, and McAllister scores at the 53rd minute. But yeah, we got a time traveler here, man. Luke, if you get that exactly right, I'll give you a shout out in the next video. How come Brighton are rivals to Palace seems a crazy one to me? Yeah, I never really get that, of course. One's in London, one's obviously on the coast. Don't really get it. Guess because it's the Seagulls versus the Eagles, they're just a bad blood. That's funny. Haaland got voted man of the match. I mean, he had to, right? He scored the goal. Record breaker now. Most goals in Premier League. Do you know how crazy that is? In a Premier League season, the most goals. This probably is his debut season. He's only 23 years old. Like, it's crazy the numbers he's putting up. He's still a kid, man. He's still a kid, but it's unbelievable. And genuinely, the scariest thing for me is, right, 2 things. One, he can get more goals, because Man City still don't play to his strengths, I think. The amount of killer passes they can make to Haaland and they choose not to, honestly, it's criminal. Like, I genuinely think it's criminal. The amount of times, like, whoever's on the pitch, whether it's Rodri, whether it's Gundogan with his De Bruyne or whatever, can make that pass to Haaland, and they are capable of. They've got the quality of it, yet they choose not to. I'm sitting there thinking, bro, this brother honestly could get a hat-trick every game. And Pep Guardiola takes him off at the 60th minute every single football match, basically. So I'm sitting there thinking, this brother could honestly hit 50 in a season in the Premier League alone. He hasn't, obviously. He's on like 35 or 36 now. But yeah, that's the scariest thing. And the other scary thing is, you know what he's doing and you still can't stop it. Because there's one thing, them scoring something and you didn't see it coming. Like, it's a back post run, it's a backdoor run. You just don't see it. It's a brilliant goal. But Haaland, you can see the brother making the run. The defenders are watching him making the run, yet they still can't stop him. He's inevitable. That is the perfect word. But you'll find a way to stop him. You always do. One way you'll find a way to stop him. It could be mental fatigue. Because look, it's one thing being a brilliant player, yeah, but the mental fatigue is a whole other thing. Why Messi and Ronaldo talked about so much? Because they've got the mental, they don't suffer mental fatigue. They put their best performances in, not week in, week out, season in, season out. The top of their game for 10, 15 years, a decade at the top of their game. How many players do we know that have a brilliant 2-3 seasons, then they just fall off the pace a little bit? One that springs to mind for me is Neymar. Neymar, brilliant player, but for me, I never ranked Neymar towards the top because he was brilliant for a few seasons at Barcelona. But ever since he's gone to PSG, for me, he's fallen off. His best performances have come in Liga rather than Champions League. Obviously, at Santos is a whole nother story, etc. But I'm sitting there thinking, to be a top player, you have to perform not season out, decade in, decade out. And the top players do that. Let's see if Haaland can replicate that, man. Let's see. But he's well on course to be one of the greatest players of all time, that's for sure. I fancy Palace to nick it 3-2, potentially, man, potentially. 1-1 draw. Tottenham versus Palace, my prediction. Yeah, I think a draw as well. 1-1 draw. Hey, Josh, bro. Yeah, appreciate you joining the stream as always, Josh. West Ham got cooked. They did today. But the thing is, right, it's sad because it's not a 3-0 game. Obviously, it finished 3-0, but genuinely, I feel like the performance that West Ham put in was decent. Like, it was genuinely decent. But I look and I think you can see it from a set piece. Like, of all, David Moyes will really be annoyed at that one. He'll be scratching his head thinking, for all the good defense we've had, and we were stopping Man City coming through us, the game plan was set up perfectly. He did his job, David Moyes. He set the team up perfectly. It was the best defensive performance in the first half against Man City I've ever seen. Like, they had one chance where Rodri hit the post, and even that was like a fluke where it double deflected onto his foot, and then he shot it and hit the post. Other than that, Man City had nothing, nada, zilch. So I'm looking at it, I'm thinking the game plan was there. It was perfect from David Moyes, but just didn't do enough for me. Didn't do enough, and you can see it from a set piece. And look, you got to be perfect against Man City. It's not good enough to just be good. You got to be perfect, and you got to have luck as well. And West Ham were missing that. They were missing that today. You should have membership to your channel. Bro, Knight, I want to. I'm not monetized yet. That's the problem. I'll be monetized hopefully by the end of the season, if not the start of next season. Then, of course, I'll be adding memberships, super chats, etc. Member-only live streams. You name it. A lot in the pipeline. Make no mistakes about it. Make sure you subscribe if you're new around here for football-related content. You do not want to miss it on this channel. Mr. Consistent, they call me, man. These people know in the live chat. Stream after basically every game, man. Any game, every game, I'm streaming. So Mr. Consistent on here. More and more streams to come, man. I appreciate everyone that tunes in and everyone that leaves their thoughts as well. I love hearing your thoughts as well. I'm going to watch Tottenham versus Palace. I'm going to go check every often. So what the score of City versus Leeds is. Oh, yeah, there we go. Well, when I'm going to do a reaction after City versus Leeds. That game will be on Sky Sports. But obviously, as I do with all the 3 p.m. games, reactions, we'll be talking about the other games as well during it. So, of course, I'll keep a keen eye on Tottenham versus Palace, of course. The thing is, West Ham until the last 5 minutes didn't really look like scoring. You're right. But against, I saw where the threat was coming from with West Ham. Antonio was using his body well, and he was getting the better of Ruben Diaz and Ake at times, and Carl Walker even at times when he would go on the different defenders there. The problem is you're never going to be clinical, so you got to take your chances. I look at the Jared Bowen one in the first half where he gets the ball and he just flashes it across the box, and Ortega does it. By the way, brilliant performance from Ortega as well in the goal, by the way. Managed to palm it away. I'm thinking Emerson back post. If that goes in, suddenly it's 1-0 West Ham. It's a different game. So you're going to say they didn't have chances, but I didn't expect West Ham to come here and have free-flowing football and have chances for days. It was going to be slim pickings. So you just got to take your chances. I mean, I look at Fulham last week, right? They had very slim chances as well, but Vinicius scored his one, and that's a tight game. It finishes 2-1. Easy could have been a draw. To West Ham today, the very few chances they did have, they could have put it away, man. They could have put it away. But it's one of those things. It's one of those things, West Ham. I love how the Premier League's every day except for Friday. Exactly, man. I love it. Premier League every single day. Newcastle versus Arsenal is going to be tough for the Gunners. Going with 2-1 Newcastle win. I know I'm sorry, but that's just what I think. Bro, that's your opinion. I feel you. Genuinely, if I was an Arsenal fan, I would say the same thing. I would say the same thing, but I got to act confident. But my non-biased viewpoint is Newcastle can win this game. Look, Arsenal fans that sit here and go, oh, yeah, we should be able to win and stuff. Yeah, we should be able to win. But make no mistake about it. I've watched a lot of football this season. I've watched a lot of Newcastle as well. Newcastle can come out the blocks flying. If we weather the storm a little bit, we've got a chance here. Genuinely, we have. But Newcastle United, they're not going to come to this game with fear. They know Arsenal are quite vulnerable. We've shown our vulnerability. The fact we concede against Chelsea is vulnerable enough for me. That's a car crash performance enough. The fact you concede a goal against Chelsea. But West Ham, that's fresh in our minds. Southampton, that's fresh in our minds. Liverpool as well. Newcastle will look to pounce on that. They're a team that plays with no fear. And it's going to be a tough game. Very tough game. But look, it's our toughest game left for the season. If we win it, who knows, man? Who knows? But the scary thing is, yeah, by Sunday, the title race officially could genuinely be over. Like, actually over. Like, I'm saying it's over now, but there's still a little bit in the back of my mind that goes, we got a chance. But if Newcastle, of course, win this game against Arsenal and Man City beat Leeds, as I expected it to happen, then the title race is officially over. And that's the saddest thing. Like, the fact we win the title race at April and it's over with still 3 or 4 games left is a little bit sad in my books. But it's one of those things. You need Leeds to grab a goal from a set piece and defend for their lives. However, if Leeds were soon up at Etihad, I still fancy City to win it. They are machine, and when you're down. But exactly. And you make a brilliant point. Even if West Ham went 1-0 up today, I was almost thinking don't go 1-0 up because that's just going to awaken the beast. That's like poking the bear. When you're playing against Man City, you can't go 1-0 up too early because then they're going to start to get out of their shell, start to get out of their rut. They're going to wake up and they're going to start to attack you. So really, you want to go 1-0 up against Man City after like 70 minutes or 80 minutes so that they haven't got enough time to react. That's just my game plan about it. Of course, beggars can't be choosers. But you're completely right. Even if Leeds were 2-0 up at Man City at half-time, I'd still be sitting there expecting Man City to win the football match. Genuinely, I would, because I know Man City get one goal back, however it is, set piece, fluky goal, outside the box shot, whatever happens, then I know they're going to come back and they're going to win the game, because that's Man City. We saw Tottenham be 2-0 up against them. Man City win the game 4-2 at the end of the football match. They're inevitable. So it's one of those things. Bringing Foden off the bench, insane. Yeah, Foden hasn't had a lot of minutes this season, man. He's been dying to come on the pitch. Of course, he scored a brilliant goal. Deflected. It was deflection tax. I'm not going to big him up too much for it. But yeah, it's one of those things, man. Strength in depth is frightening. It is, man. It is. That's why I look and I go, on how I look at it is probability-wise, yeah? 9 seasons out of 10, Man City will win the league. They will. They've got the best squad. They've got the best team. They've got the best manager. 9 seasons out of 10, Man City will win the league. To win the league over Man City, you have to play brilliantly and have a heap of luck. Meaning, you have to play brilliantly and hope Man City don't play to their ability. And for the majority of the season, for 70% of the season, Man City weren't playing to their ability. Up until February, they were crap. They were genuinely crap, man. Like, crap by their standards. Not crap by any other team standards. They were brilliant. But for Man City standards, they were crap until February. Man City fans will agree themselves. But since March, ever since they drew 1-1 to Nottingham Forest, they've been unbelievable. Unbelievable. I've watched every game since, and they've not shown a weakness. Ever since Stones has come into the team as a left back / right back / centre midfielder, whatever you call it, auxiliary defender, they've been unbelievable. And I look and I go, there's no stopping them. There's no stopping them. The only thing that can beat them is themselves. And I'm just going into games praying and wishing that a team gets something from them. And I just want to see a weakness from Man City. That's one thing I ask for, because for the last 2-3 months, I've not seen a weakness from Man City. And that's the scariest thing. It's one thing them winning games, fluking it 1-0, someone scoring off their leg to go into the back of net, or someone's scoring off their shoulder. But they're winning games convincingly. And they're winning games because they deserve to win it. And that's the scariest thing for me. But look, anything can happen. There's still a long way to go in the season. They've still got the maximum matches to play, provided they get through the Champions League as well. So who knows? Anything can happen. Arsenal, what we got to do is take care of our business. Because I don't want us to lose the league by 2 points and go, oh, if we drop points to Wolves, or we drop points to Forest or Brighton or Newcastle because we weren't taking it seriously. That's what I don't want to happen. I expect Man City to win the league. I think the majority of the football world expects Man City to win the league, apart from Ty from AFTV. But that's about it. So we just got to make sure we deal with our business. That's the main thing. Actually, I think it could be 2-2 or 2-1. I don't know. Either way, it's not a good result for Arsenal. Arsenal need to win that football match. We've dropped points in too many games. If we beat West Ham and Southampton, we could afford to draw against Newcastle, but too many draws now where we need to win. We put ourselves in a position where it's win or nothing. Genuinely, a draw is a loss against Newcastle. And it's sad because in any other season, getting a draw at St. James's Park with a team that's in the top 4 away from home is a good result, but this season it's not. Be right back, going to get some water, no problem whatsoever. To be fair, by the time I got up to this comment, you probably are back. Can that famous shirt you're wearing win the UEFA Champions League in a one-off game? Bro, I'm hoping so. That's the team I want to win it. I'm an Arsenal fan. I want Man City. I want AC Milan to win the Champions League. Of course, I'll be reacting to AC Milan versus Inter Milan. Both legs on this channel. Make sure you subscribe. You don't want to miss it. Champions League reactions will return. I can't wait for them, man. Can't wait for that competition to be back. On the back, Rafael Leao, you know it, of course. I want AC Milan to do it. And they can. Look, they won 7 Champions Leagues in their history. It runs in their blood, just like Real Madrid's blood as well. It can happen. I think they're going to do it over Inter Milan potentially. But my personal opinion is whoever gets through out of Man City and Real Madrid, who I believe will be Man City, will win the Champions League. Whoever gets through from that side of the bracket will do it. Mark, I appreciate you joining the stream as always, my friend. This might be City's best league. Yes, and it might be. And look, it hasn't been their best performances from the start of the season to now. But one thing I will say about Man City is, right, this is their best team. 100%. It's the best team I've seen under Pep Guardiola by a mile. Because suddenly, he's clocked how to play with Haaland. I think for the majority of the season, despite the goals Haaland was getting, I was one of the people that came out. And I was one of the earliest people that came out and said it. I don't think Haaland's right for Pep Guardiola. But I also did say, yeah, it came with a caveat. And I don't want to just say this, bigging myself up for it. I don't want to toot my own horn. But I genuinely said this, right? I said, Arsenal and all these teams got to take advantage while we can, because it's not going to be long before the greatness of Pep Guardiola manages to adapt this City team to play with Haaland, because his whole life, Pep Guardiola, his whole football philosophy has been based off not playing with a number 9. I know he's had Lewandowski, but genuinely his best teams and generally have been that Barcelona 2008 to 2012 team, the tiki-taka side with David Villa up front, where there'd be no striker. He was famous saying he wants 10 midfielders on the pitch with a goalkeeper. Haaland rips all that up. Haaland's not a midfielder. Haaland's not a technically brilliant footballer. He's rash at times. He's a little bit sloppy. But one thing he is athletically gifted. He is absolutely brilliant. He is a machine, a robot. And he's had to adapt to play like that. At the start of the season, it looked a little bit discombobulated. I can't lie. He was getting the goals because he's brilliant. But he looked a bit like how do I explain it? A bull in a china shop. That's how to explain it. Like he was just running about everywhere, but goals were happening because of his quality rather than actual piecing it together. Whereas now I look at Man City and he's adapted to playing with Haaland. He knows what to do. They can get more goals, but he knows when to make the runs, and he knows, and the passes are on the money to him, man. Like it's a cheat code to have Haaland up front, and then you've got Alvarez, you've got De Bruyne, you've got Gundogan at times, Mahrez, Jack Grealish. Literally, their first thought in their brain is to feed the ball to Haaland. How can you stop that, man? Genuinely, how can you? So that's the thing. This is Man City's best team I've seen in my lifetime, definitely for sure. Even better than the Centurions, in my opinion. That's my thoughts on it. If this team was playing like this at the start of the season, they would have got over 100 points, 100%. They just experimented for the majority of the season. That's the craziest thing. Man City only took this league seriously in March, and they're still top of the league and going to win the Premier League. Isn't that crazy? Have you ever heard of a team only taking the Premier League seriously in March, yet still having enough to win the league? It's crazy, man. All right, back. Well, there we go, man. Title race, FA Cup and Champions League could be City's. Yeah, the treble is on, man. And the treble, this is the first time in my lifetime where I genuinely can sense the treble happening. I can see it before my very eyes because it's not just the fact they're in all competitions. It's the form, it's the momentum. And it can all change because before Arsenal played Liverpool, our momentum was brilliant as well. We'd won 7 in a row. We were scoring late goals. We were scoring early goals. We were ripping teams apart, beating Fulham 3-0 away from home, for example. We were scraping goals last minute if we need to. But this form for Man City is scary something else. Like, I don't think I've seen a team perform like this. Even when they were beating Liverpool to the title, yeah, and they were winning games. I remember in that run, right, they were winning games marginally. Like, it'd be like little wins. This season, ever since the Forest game, every game they've won convincingly. Even the Fulham game last week, I said it was a comfortable win. Not once did I sit there and go, oh, Fulham might get something from this game. I was 100% confident in Man City's ability to win that football match. And look, you don't beat Bayern Munich 4-1 over 2 legs if you're a bad football team. Trust me when I say that. That is a top quality football team. Bayern Munich scored 1 goal over 2 legs. And it was a dodgy penalty that they got from like a handball that was barely a handball. So I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, this is worrying. Like, to go to the Allianz, yeah, and only concede 1 goal and still draw that game 1-1, win 4-1 in aggregate is crazy. I want to see how they do at Anfield. But obviously, they've already gone there. But I want to see the Anfield test. Because if Man City go to Anfield and they win that game, because I think they will in this current form. In the current form, I think Man City goes to the Etihad and win 3-0. When they went there earlier in the season and Liverpool won 1-0, let's not forget that. That wasn't the Man City team that's playing right now. That team was a shadow of the team right now. But let's see. But nothing's stopping Man City, genuinely. Nothing's stopping them one bit. They're the best team in this league by a mile. I don't care what Pep Guardiola says in his press conferences. He can big up Arsenal all he wants. I'm bigging up Man City. They're a better team than Arsenal. Yeah, that was crazy. Exactly, man. As good as Man City are, I don't see them hammering Real Madrid, but I agree they need to. If it's like there's only one winner. I can see Man City win the first leg 4-1 at the Etihad. Genuinely, I can. You can call me crazy in order to say, no, I can't see it. Genuinely, I can see Man City win the first leg 4-1. Because I think Pep Guardiola will tell his team as well, look, we saw from last season, we won that first leg 4-3. We were happy. Going to the Bernabeu with a lead. It's not good enough. We can't go, oh no, the first leg is at the Bernabeu. Never mind. Okay, either way, Man City can win that game. They can. I think the first leg being at Bernabeu helps Man City. So I think they want to come back to the Etihad with the game intact. Whenever you go away from home in the first leg, your first port of call is don't put the game out of sight. If you lose 1-0, so be it. I remember when I went up to Manchester, the same day as Man City played Bayern Munich. I went up the train from London to Manchester in the Bayern Munich shirt because I forgot the game was on Tuesday. I thought it was the other way around. I thought the Chelsea-Real Madrid game was on Tuesday, the Man City game on Wednesday. But I went up regardless on the Tuesday, the Bayern Munich shirt. And I bumped into some Bayern Munich fans, right? And they were confident going into the game at the Etihad in the first game. And I said to them, look, I watched a lot of Man City, right? They're good. Their form's wicked. Stone's going to come into midfield. You're going to struggle. Just, if you're going to lose, it's not the end of the world. Just don't lose more than 1-0. That's what I told the Bayern Munich fans. Make sure it's a game going back to the Allianz. What they do, they went 1-0 down, so be it. Then they end up going 2-0 down, and then 3-0 down was a killer blow. It went to the Allianz and the game was over. It was wrapped up. Finished. Finito. So I'm going, Real Madrid at Bernabeu, City, I expect you lot to win the game. But even if you don't lose your heads. If it's a draw, it's not a bad result. Just don't go too gung-ho. It's a 2-legged tie. Don't burn out in that first leg. It's a marathon, not a sprint in the Champions League. So if you're Man City, I don't expect you to win Bernabeu or Etihad, but don't put the game out of sight. Don't let the game go out of sight at the Bernabeu. Don't let Real Madrid run away and have a 2 or 3 goal lead. That's what I'd say. Keep it tight. And if you lose 1-0, so be it. I still back you to win at the Etihad. It's one of those things. I remember that game. I thought it was over. Exactly. There we go, man. I think you're referring to Man City versus Real Madrid last season. Chelsea are lucky games are running out. They're lucky as well. They could get relegated on this current form. I think there was a stat that said if Tuchel was never in charge and you extrapolated Potter and Frank Lampard's form out, Chelsea would be in the relegation zone right now. It's crazy how bad it is. But they'll bounce back. But the said is very quiet. I agree, man. It is. It's crazy, man. It's crazy how quiet it is. And it's criminal as well because they're in a title race, man. Like, imagine if this was any other team in the Premier League, genuinely any other team, the stadium would be filled from the minute the tickets go on ticket exchange. When Arsenal tickets come out, obviously now it might be different, but definitely when we were favourites for the league, the tickets would run out like this, like in an instant. You wouldn't even have a chance to get a ticket. With Man City, you probably do. Like games against Wolves, the game against Wolves retailing for 27 grand on resale because everyone wants to be in that stadium to watch Arsenal potentially win the league. Obviously, it's changed now, and I feel sorry for anyone that paid 27 grand for that. But with Man City, it doesn't feel like that. It feels like a team that's been spoiled. They feel like billionaire kids that got a Ferrari. Like it's brilliant to get a Ferrari, but they're a billionaire. You know what I mean? That's what I feel like the Man City fans are. I mean, most of their fans come from Abu Dhabi anyway, so it's one of those things. But yeah, I feel that's what I'm like. They're a bit spoiled, that fan base. I can't lie to you. Exactly. I saw the empty seats. There we go. I'm not the only one, and I'm not one to bash fans. I know there's a lot of very loyal Man City fans out there, but I'm just speaking on the main, like basically on the majority of what I've seen. Stadium is too big for them. They aren't a small club, but a 30k stadium will be more than suitable. Agree 100%. Yet they want to expand it. One of those things. Smaller stadiums can create better atmospheres. I agree. For example, Highbury had a brilliant atmosphere, right? Ever since Arsenal have gone to the Emirates, we've lost a bit of our aura. I think a lot of people have said that. Lost a bit of like the Highbury, the tight pitch, the tunnel, the fans on top of the stadium, the four corners. It created a bit more of an atmosphere. The Emirates has lost it a little bit. It's come back now because Arsenal fighting for the title. But you're right. For example, if Liverpool ever leave Anfield, which I doubt they'll do, in fact, they're looking to expand Anfield, the same thing could happen to them. People say Arsenal leaving Highbury was the worst thing that happened to them. I mean, I don't remember Arsenal in the Highbury necessarily. That was very early days for me. But I wouldn't disagree with that. I can't knock that opinion one bit. I barely see empty seats in Selhurst Park. You won't, man. Like genuinely, the one team fight for the title has got the most empty seats. It's crazy. Selhurst Park is a great atmosphere. It does. And when Selhurst Park had the cheerleaders, it was even better, man. Even better. I remember in Selhurst Park with the cheerleaders, man. I mean, if they're losing 3 or 4-0, then yeah, there's going to be some empty seats, but there's still a bunch of fans there. Exactly. I cannot wait for May 28th. I'm going to have Crystal Palace versus Nottingham Forest on my computer. I'm going to have Arsenal versus Wolves on the TV. I'm going to go back, look at the City game every so often. Well, there we go. For me, I'm gonna be in the stadium to watch Arsenal versus Wolves. If Arsenal are in the title run-in by then, by God's will, hopefully we will be. I'll vlog it. Regardless, when I get back home, it'll probably be about 7 p.m., 6 p.m., etc. I'll do a live stream to wrap up all the games on the final day and most likely crown City champions of the Premier League. But yeah, live stream 6 p.m. on the final day of the season. No, not 6 p.m. The game starts at 4:30. So it'll be at 8 p.m. 8 p.m. stream, final day of the season. We'll be right here to talk all about it. The empty head joke won't go away. Genuinely, it won't. It never will. I'm going to go now, see everyone. I'll be here for United versus Brighton tomorrow. Bro, unfortunately, tomorrow I probably won't be streaming. I'll try, but I'm probably not. But definitely next Saturday and Sunday, the Saturday and Sunday coming, streams every day, man. Every day, you name it. 4 games, bro. Saturday and Sunday, every single game that's on TV, I'll be streaming. The Leeds City game, the Liverpool-Brentford game, both games will be streaming on Saturday. And on Sunday, I'll be streaming straight after Arsenal-Newcastle or Newcastle-Arsenal. And then, of course, after United versus West Ham, I want to say. I can't remember. United play someone. I think it is West Ham. See you again. Wolves a good team to play. They seem on the beach to me. Exactly. A very, very comfortable team to play. But I think the title will be wrapped up by then, unfortunately. Still can't wait for that Milan derby. Me neither, man. Me neither. I cannot wait. Eden Dennis, appreciate you on the stream as always, Mali. I hope you're doing well. Speaking facts, as I always try to do, man. As I always try to do. I'm going to go for Real Madrid versus AC Milan final. I want to see UEFA Champions League Heritage final. Yeah, the 2 teams I've wanted the most. I would love AC Milan to win the Champions League. That would be my favourites. That team I'd love to see win it. But my favourites are Man City. He's a tapping merchant. Haaland? Nah, he's more than that. Like that goal at the end, that's quality, man. That's absolute quality. To get over 100 points out of possible 114 is insane anyway. It is, man. It is. I mean, they could do it. Like if this team played like this at the start of the season, and I know that's if, buts, and maybes. That's hypotheticals. But if they did do that, there's no reason they wouldn't strike 100 points. No reason, because this team's better than the Centurion team right now. And I know the sample size is smaller because I'm only judging it from March to now. But from what I've seen, this is better than the Centurion team. Like that Centurion team was good with Sane, Sterling, Jesus, Aguero, etc. But this is a whole nother level, man. Like You've got Grealish on form. You've got Mahrez. You've got bench players. I mean, Calvin Phillips comes on for 2 minutes. He's smiling, bro. Anyone else see that? My man comes off the bench 2 minutes. He's smiling. I'd be smiling too. He could have brought me on and we would have won the match. Like, bro, Calvin Phillips comes on. He's thinking, bro, I got the easiest job in the world. They come on for 2 minutes. I get paid 200 grand a week. I come on for Rodri. The game's over by the time I come on the pitch. I'm not even fighting for anything. It's crazy. I forgot Calvin Phillips existed. I was one of the people that said, oh, if Rodri goes out injured, they ain't got cover in CDM. I genuinely forgot Calvin Phillips was a City player. And he's good, man. Like, he was Leeds United's best player last season. He started for England in the Euros. So I'm looking at him thinking, right, this team has got a bit about them. It has got a squad. That the depth is still underrated. And Pep Guardiola as well, also, let's not forget, right? He's got a knack for giving his players a second season, like, little bounce. So I feel like that always happens. There's always these players they sign. And in the first season, I'm looking at them thinking, what kind of signing is that? Like Rodri, for example, wasn't starting for Atletico Madrid, really. He was struggling in his first season. Ruben Diaz struggled a little bit at the start. And then the second season comes and they take a complete jump in themselves. I think they just need the first year to adapt. So the fact Haaland's hit the ground running, the fact Alvarez hit the ground running is a credit to them, because I would expect these City players to fully jump on as well as season after. So let's see, man. It's scary times for the Premier League. City fans are spoiled. They expect every match to be one-sided. Exactly, man. Exactly. And Pep Guardiola's tried his best to get the stadium up. He said, come early and all this and all that. But it's not going to be enough, man. Like, the City fans aren't that way inclined. They're not a raucous team. Like, they're not. They're just not, man. Like, they've been spoiled. Like, if you give a kid a Ferrari every year for his birthday and you give him a Bugatti, is he going to be happy? Yeah, he'll be slightly more happy he got a Bugatti, but like Ferrari to Bugatti is a jump there. Whereas if I've been getting a Nissan, then I jump up to a Bugatti, bro. That's like that's Christmas, birthday, Eid, all rolled in one, man. Everything. Christmas was a hybrid was only 38k, I think, but that great atmosphere. It's not all about atmosphere. Exactly. Look, it's not all about. You mean not all about the capacity? I mean, it's not exactly not all about numbers. 100% agree. 100% agree, man. It's the aura the stadium can create. Look, if the crowd's loud enough, 38k can sound like 100k. That's my thoughts on it. The Man City versus Sheffield United attendance was pitiful. Agree. Sad to see. I swear having one domestic cup would be better going forward. What do you think? I'm inclined to agree with that. I think the FA Cup should exist only for the what's it called? For the should exist for everyone because that's the oldest cup competition. I think personally, the teams that don't make Europe, there should be a Carabao Cup for them only. Because I think if you make Europe, right, you're sitting there and you're playing in 4 competitions. I think that's a bit much. And then you're looking at it and you're thinking squad depth is really tested at that point. So for me, I think the teams that don't make Europe, they should be in the Carabao Cup. Every team should be in the FA Cup. And then obviously Premier League and teams in Europe are in Europe. So every team, no matter what, plays in 3 competitions a season. That's my thoughts. Let me know if you agree in the live chat. What is the point in Calvin coming on for 2 minutes? Seriously. It's just a run down the clock, I guess, man. Pep could have put a fan on there and then they'd been all right. Exactly my point, bro. I could have come onto the pitch. Man. When I was in school, I used to play left back. I was Zinchenko before Zinchenko existed. Yeah, let's not forget this. When I used to play, my coach used to put me left back at school, right? And I hated playing defense. I hated it. So I used to just drift into midfield. So I was basically Zinchenko before Zinchenko existed. My coach used to shout at me saying, get back in defense. If I'd Pep Guardiola as coach, man, he would have seen a vision. I would have been one of the best inverted fullbacks of all time. But look, it's one of those things, man. One of those things. Funny they say on the broadcast that Calvin Phillips played more minutes this year for England than for City. Exactly. He hasn't started a game for Man City. It's crazy. And he's smiling. He's genuine. It's crazy. How does Pep manage to manage all these egos? It's crazy. Like, a credit to him. It's one thing managing a team to play well, but managing the egos, the man management side of football is criminally underrated. Certain managers like Klopp get it down perfectly. And I've normally come out and said Klopp's a better man manager than Pep Guardiola. But now I start to think Pep Guardiola is, because he's ruthless, but also he gets the best out of his team and everyone seems happy. Like, for a player like Calvin Phillips who would start and would want to start games, the fact that he's come off the bench for 2 minutes and he hasn't started a game in the Premier League, he's still smiling, still buzzing to be on the pitch. It's crazy to me. Like, you see players like Emile Smith-Rowe hasn't played a game for Arsenal, really. He's sulking. Like, you see other players sulking. Yeah, Pep Guardiola's got all his players happy. Foden looked happy, to be fair. Like, even though he hasn't played games. Gundogan was happy on the bench. I'm looking at him thinking, how has he managed to do it? Like, and the thing is, he's also ruthless, because as soon as a player steps out of line, he's gone. Doesn't matter who it is. Cancelo was one of City's best players last season. Has a little fight, has a little row with Pep Guardiola. Bang, you're off to Bayern Munich. We can replace you. We ain't got a left back at the club. Don't worry, man. I'd rather you go than have a left back at the club, because that's how much I care about my morals. He's a man that has very high standards. And I have to commend Guardiola for that, man. I've underrated his man management ability in recent seasons. He's proven to me that he's taken it to another level, been top man manager. Pep knows City aren't an absolute giant. Yeah, they're not a European giant. Let's be as real in terms of like their stature as a club. Like City could go on to win a league for the next 10 seasons. I still wouldn't call them bigger than Manchester United. It's crazy, but I wouldn't, because you got to have to a point where history speaks volumes. And I know you can't change history. I know it's unfair for me to go, no matter what City do, I'll never see them as a bigger club than Manchester United. But that's just it, bro. Like if when football's founded for the first 100 years, United have been a bigger club than City for the first 120 years potentially, and then suddenly for the last 20 seasons, City have been amazing. Who am I to discredit the previous 120 years that happened before that? Who am I to discredit Manchester United being a historical team, a team that football was built upon? Yeah, they might overtake some other teams like the Evertons, like the Aston Villas potentially over time, because those teams haven't had the longevity. But I'll never see Man City overtake Arsenal, Liverpool, and United. I'll never see it. I'll never ever see it in my lifetime. Obviously, that could be biased me being an Arsenal fan, but it's one of those things, man. I agree if they want to keep Carabao Cup, take European teams out. Yeah, that's just my thoughts on it. Unpopular opinion, maybe, but I haven't had enough people talk about that. A really big club can sell out, let's face it. Exactly. And like I said, if any other team was in this position, Man City were in to win the title, the tickets would be sold out and they'd be sent out like this on Ticket Exchange. They'll be sent out like this on Ticket Exchange. But the fact Man City won it so often in recent years, it's a spoiled fan base a little bit, man. But look, it's one of those things, man. I don't want to talk too badly on football fans, because every fan's entitled to their own right. I'm sure there's loads of City fans that are very, very was loyal to their team and have come through the trenches. There's loads, I'm sure. But I'm just speaking on what I see personally. When I was growing up, the FA Cup was still big, not anymore. But this is the thing, right? The FA Cup is big for certain clubs, but I think for me as an Arsenal fan, I don't see the history behind it. So I do see the history behind it, but I don't resonate it with as much as the older fans. Like for me, I'd rather win the Europa League than the FA Cup, for example. Do you get what I mean? Like for me, it goes Premier League champions or Premier League Champions League or Champions League Premier League, whatever order you want. Then Europa League, then FA Cup. That's just my thoughts on it. Maybe because I am spoiled, Arsenal win the FA Cup so often, I don't see it as that big a trophy anymore, maybe for me. Potentially you could say that. But I also do think that it's got to a point now where, because so many teams are so good, FA Cup's won by a big team every year. Like, it's sad to see, but back in the day, I feel like the FA Cup was a bit more competitive. Now, because of the squad Man City got, they can afford to play their reserve team in the FA Cup, and they'll still walk teams. Like, they'll still walk teams convincingly. Like, game against Sheffield United fought well for the first 25 minutes. Then they fell off a cliff. Because as soon as Man City got their first goal, it was inevitable. So I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, Man City, United, Arsenal, big teams don't rest players as much for the FA Cup anymore. And it just seems like the amount of good teams there are in the Premier League, the amount of big teams there are. Now look at the big six, for example. Okay, maybe discount Tottenham, the big five, yeah? Is the odds are one of those five teams going to win the FA Cup. There's probably a 97% chance one of those five teams will win it. Whether it's Liverpool, Arsenal, City, Chelsea, or what's the other team? Bloody hell. Liverpool, City, United, Arsenal, Chelsea. There we go. One of those five teams will win the FA Cup 97% of the time. It's inevitable. So I don't think it's as competitive one, which makes it a bit sad. It makes it like a top six FA Cup. Do you know what I mean? No, I agree, bro. Man United, Liverpool, and Arsenal are the big three. Exactly. In that order as well. 100% agree with that order. I think the FA Cup is favoured to the big team, which I don't agree. They get put in the third round. Yeah, I mean, some people are saying it should be just like unseated. It is unseated, but it's like every team just goes in it from minute one. I agree with Premier teams getting put into it from the third round. I agree with that. And I like the whole replay basis in the FA Cup, although I think that could change it, go straight to penalties / extra time. But me personally, I think it's just one of those things that's just not going to change. Like football, because of how much money is invested in the Premier League now, the Premier League is the best league in the world. I know for many seasons it was La Liga, Serie A before then. The Premier League is now the best league in the world. The best managers are there. The best players are coming to the Premier League. And the best players aren't going to Luton Town. No disrespect. They're not going to Brentford. You know what I mean? Even Brentford are a good team. But the best players are going to Man City, to Arsenal, to Liverpool, to Chelsea. Suddenly, they're getting better and they're getting exponentially better. So they're going like this in terms of getting better from already their high position. And other teams can't catch up. Like even when Brentford do well, they're not going to catch up to Man City getting better. Even when other teams, even like lower from the championships, like the Millwalls, for example, the Middlesbroughs, they're not going to get better to the extent that Man City are getting better. So they're starting higher up and they're moving higher up as well. Their gradients greater than the other teams. So you're looking at it thinking, I can only see it going one way. Obviously, all's up to change in football. Anything can change, but who knows, man? Replays will be scrapped. I'm not against it. I think it's there for the heritage reason, but I'm not against it going extra time penalties, to be honest. They used to have a finals replay. That was crazy. Yeah, they did. They did. You're right. They used to have a replay for the finals, which is crazy. Imagine booking tickets for the final and you don't even get to see your team lift the trophy. That is crazy. That is absolutely crazy, man. Imagine me going to the Wembley to watch. I went to the final when Arsenal beat Aston Villa. I think it was 4-1 or 4-0. Alexis Sanchez scored a brilliant goal, man. Brilliant goal against Aston Villa. It was 2015 FA Cup final. I remember we were in the yellow kit. Imagine me going to that game and I don't even get to see Arsenal lift the trophy. I don't even get to see Aston Villa lift the trophy. That would have been crazy, man. Too many fixtures. They need to cut a cup or FA Cup replays eventually. Seems all the top leagues are cutting their domestic leagues down and they don't have 2 domestic cups. Well, here's the thing, right? Not only that, you made a brilliant point the other day on my stream as well, Tommy. Germany, for example, the Bundesliga's got 18 teams. There are 2 teams less than the Premier League, and they've only got 1 cup competition. So I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, the Premier League's got way too many games. I mean, I'm not complaining. I mean, for my channel, I love reviewing as many matches as possible, but you got a good point. While other leagues are slimming down, Premier League's bulking up. They're bulking up. So I think it will go down eventually. I think the games will go down, but it's a money thing, right? Like, everyone wants to watch the Premier League. And everyone from all other leagues in the world, yeah, everyone follows the Premier League. It's crazy. It's crazy. I'll ask someone in Spain, they'll probably follow the Premier League. Someone in Italy will probably follow the Premier League now because it's just that league. It's just the best league in the world. It's one of those things. It's a stupid idea. Yeah, I agree with you in that respect, man. I agree with you. But yeah, I'm going to start to wrap up the streams. I've been streaming for the last hour or so. I'll see about streams tomorrow. I've got a test both tomorrow and Friday. So depending on how much work I get done during the day, I'll see what happens regarding Man United versus Brighton stream tomorrow. Potentially, if I do, it will be a short one. Definitely shorter than this. But in terms of the next streams, 100% Saturday. Double stream. Man City versus Leeds United stream starts 5 p.m. as soon as the game's done. And then Liverpool versus Brentford stream at 7:30 as soon as that game's done. Both streams on this channel. Make sure you subscribe to bell notifications. You do not want to miss it. And on Sunday, another double-header stream, man, for Super Sunday. 6:30 p.m. the stream will start straight after Newcastle United versus Arsenal. And then, of course, at I believe it's 9 p.m. the stream will start straight after the 7 p.m. game, which is between Manchester United and West Ham United. No, I think that's the game. Man United versus West Ham. West Ham versus United. Either way, United are playing on the Sunday as well. Reacting to both those games. In terms of this game here, West Ham played well. They did well to hang in there, but Man City's quality gave way. They win 3-0. They go top of the table, and it seems as though they're never going to look back. They play again before Arsenal play, and for Arsenal fans saying we are top of the league, yes, they might be the last chance. We got to chant that, to be honest, which is sad, but it's how it is. Prioritize your exams. That's the plan, Jeff, man. That's the plan. I'd rather want the Prem going down to 18, so I'd rather lose the FA Cup. So I don't want the Prem going down to 18, so I'd rather lose the Carabao Cup. I agree with you in that respect. I agree with you. Good luck with those exams, bro. Give it your best. That's all you can do in life. Exactly, man. Exactly. I agree with that as well. Appreciate everyone tuning in as always. Make sure you like the stream down below so it goes out to more people. Make sure you subscribe and turn on bell notifications as well so you don't miss any of my future streams. Check out my community tab where I'll leave a schedule for my upcoming streams as always. Make sure you check out my Twitter and Instagram in the live chat. In the description, as I do tend to tweet about games. I didn't tweet about it today because I didn't want to jinx it, but I do tweet about games as they happen and my thoughts live in case anyone wants to see that. As always, if you just joined in now to the stream and you want to hear all about my thoughts, scroll right back to the start of the stream as I talk all about it there. I appreciate everyone as always giving their thoughts through the live chat. I think Newcastle versus Arsenal will be a draw. Even that won't be enough, but it probably is a probable result. Arsenal need to win. Take care. See you again. I appreciate everyone tuning in as always and I hope to see you all in my next one. Take care.